Hey, fellas.
It's okay, lose to opponent.
I'm a little better than everyone else here.
We just wanted to wish you good luck today.
Hey. Come on, get lost, you two. You're making him lose his focus.
Hey,
You stay
quiet. You're making him lose his focus. Oh, no. Sorry. Shut up.
I pass you because you lose focus. Damn, lost focus. Life over.
You lack discipline.
Nuh-uh, don't rack a discipline.
Well, that was awkward.
Yes, it was.
15.
Hello and welcome to Unfocused Fantasy Football from Steelers Sanctuary. We're happy to be here tonight and discuss what happened last week in fantasy football, what we think's going to happen this week. I've got Trent Ging, Jeff Smith, John Markman, David Korb, and myself. We think Greg Holt's going to be joining in a minute. There he is.
There he is.
So, what did we think, guys? How's everybody doing?
Victory feels good.
Cheated. I feel cheated.
Yes, for those of us, just to share what happened in the league last week. Yeah, pop up what the scoreboard looked like.
We don't need to show the scoreboard.
Pop this up here.
Sorry,
six
the
New
wheel of
England
death
rings.
is going. So
I know, right? 6 New England rings fell to the mighty Iron City Brewery. Yes, we can hear you, Greg. Okay, and then Relic managed to beat up on the Master Class. Big Berg took out Dave Hates ESPN. Dave Hates My Team. At least Dave Hates went 1-1, beat the playing Saquon, and Blitzburg in the game of the week beat the Standard 135-127. So the Blitzburg people and the Standard. That's our own David and Trent. What went right? What went wrong?
Luck. That's what. Fucking luck.
I feel like a lot of good trash talk. It's just like Jalen Ramsey in the game last week. I mean, you just got to talk so much shit that it just comes into fruition. And that's what I tried to do. And I stayed on Corb as much as I possibly could. I took him out of his game. It just went right, Bob. It just went right.
Nice. Yeah. I liked it.
No, it's called literally luck. I would have beaten 7 other people in this fucking league if I'd faced them. I had a good week. My team, would I say they underperformed a little bit, but not that bad. Not bad enough to lose, putting up almost 130. But whatever. If I can put up almost 130 every week, which I plan to do, I'll be okay.
Yes, I felt pretty good about my 117 against the.
I'm actually a little surprised at some of the scores. In a 10-man league, I would have expected
be higher.
We're like me personally, 72. I mean, that's my bench scored 95, and I don't have a kicker and a D on my bench. I should have swapped my bench out and put my kicker and D in. I would have given this guy a run for his money because he only scored 111, and I think Jeff scored less than 100 in a 10-man league. I'm really surprised to see some of these. It just goes to show that you don't know what you think you know. You know, you come in and you draft and you listen to all the so-called experts and, this guy should go first. I know I was so happy, and I'm sure he'll bounce back. I took Jamar Chase, the number one guy picked. I was second pick. Number one guy picked running back there.
I think he took Saquon, didn't he?
No, did he take Saquon? I thought he took Robinson.
I think it was Saquon. Because I got beat, John.
Or I was 3. What pick were you, Trent?
What pick was I?
I might have been the 3rd pick, and I'm like, damn, Chase is to me. I'm so happy, and he goes up and throws 4.6 points up. And it's I don't anticipate that being the norm for the year, but still, your first.
That was kind of across the board. That was kind of across the board, though. Like Nico Collins didn't do anything.
No, there was another league.
Yeah, there was a couple big names that really just didn't show up. But I don't think that's going to be the trend for the whole year. At least I hope it's not going to be the trend for the whole year. I'm going to be in trouble.
For me, it was Higgins and Hawkinson that did not play well. Higgins, that whole Bengals offense, 7 total yards in the second half?
Yeah, terrible.
So Jamar Chase didn't do shit either. I think he had 4 points in
4.6.
fantasy this past week.
Burrow's only had like 120 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what the fuck? I guess
Then you're like, they can't be that bad, right? Is Cleveland's D that good? I know Myles Garrett sacked him like 3 straight plays. So I guess we kind of see, what Cleveland brings to the table this week, but maybe Cleveland D is a little tougher than people thought. So.
Well, we also know that Cincinnati does not start off the year well at all. So I think they might have gotten the win, but they still kind of played like they've been playing the last couple of years, getting out the gates. It wasn't like a spectacular Cincinnati performance. It was just they were playing Cleveland. This is what my thoughts are on that.
Yeah, but Cincinnati only had 7 yards of offense in the second half against Cleveland. Right. You got to think that they're probably not that bad. Although I know Trent has talked a lot about this on our podcast. Cincinnati's offensive line is not good. So, Trent, what do you think? Is this maybe the norm for the Cincinnati offense this year?
I keep saying 6 to 7 wins for that team. I've stuck to it early in the preseason. I'm going to keep riding it because I just don't think this team's as good as everybody thinks they are. It's all about the skill position players. There's no real star power behind the rest of the team, offensive or defense. Because even Hendrickson, they showed how much they believe in him with that contract they really didn't give him.
Yeah,
I think the Bengals are a bad team.
But I think, sometimes the bad teams from a fantasy perspective, you don't mind rostering some of the good players on a bad team because they're going to be playing from behind a lot. And, hey, play from behind, give up 40 points, Cincinnati. I got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns every game, kind of like the numbers last year. I don't even know if they made the playoffs last year. I know they started out slow, but look at Burrow, 5,000 yards and 45 touchdowns, and they don't make the playoffs. I'll take it in fantasy. I don't care if Cincinnati sucks. Just keep slinging it.
I think what you saw in that game, just my perspective, was that in the second half, it's not that Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and those guys aren't good. And we saw it a little bit in the Pittsburgh game with Aaron Rodgers. When you go to drop back and you hit your third step and there's 4 guys on you, that's a problem. And you're right. They're going to be behind. But if they play like that on the offensive line, oh, my God, they're not going to be able to throw the ball. Let's turn the page to our 2 resident New England people here. What do we think about Drake May's debut? A little bit less than anticipated, huh?
I don't know. He threw 287 yards. He threw a touchdown. He wasn't the running quarterback that I'd like to see. There was no shots downfield. So he threw a lot of passes. The running game was non-existent. Overall, for Drake May, I'm not terribly disappointed with him. I'm a little more disappointed with Josh McDaniels and some of the play calling that I saw there. It's more of the dink and dunk. It's not, going downfield. I think Henderson averaged 5+ yards a carry and got the ball 11 times or 9 times, something like that. So I just think that I wasn't thrilled with the play calling. And I think, if you look at the pundits up north, they're not happy with some of the coaching decisions up there. I know Jeff was watching Nesson and had more, take on that. But
yeah, no, they're freaking out in New England. But I think it wasn't necessarily the whole game. It was just individual plays. Like every time there was a big play, we didn't show up. And to only score 13 on the Raiders was very disappointing. But I think Drake May was what Drake May was. He had a decent game. I think John hit on it really good. Like I would have liked to seen him run a little bit more. But overall, I just was, in the fourth quarter, our first round pick gave up 2 sacks and had a false start, and it just was like stuff like that just kind of just piled up on us. And we started off the game great, and we just couldn't, the drives, we just couldn't sustain drives, big plays. Every big play, it seemed like we just kind of flopped.
We couldn't stop him on third down. I wish we had our guy Jabril Peppers. I think you guys just picked him up. So
correct.
you know, I don't know if he's a game changer, so to say, but he's probably
solid.
better,
solid.
just as good as any of the guys we got back there right now. And
Why in the
you know,
world
we
they got him? The guy still doesn't make sense to me.
It's especially this late in, you know, I could see if it was in the summer, get some cap space, go sign another guy, but you know, to do it this late, I don't know. Maybe it's Vrabel coming in and wanting to create his own culture and say, you know, I didn't bring these guys in. I need to
it's not my guy.
Make a point or something. It is a little puzzling. Plus, you know, we didn't have Christian Gonzalez. You know, we made, you know, Geno Smith look like, you know, the next Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. But, you know, we couldn't get off those third and longs. We couldn't get off the field on him. You know, he's just slinging it down there. And, you know, that's where a Peppers comes in. That's where you know, Christian Gonzalez comes in, and, you know, really our defensive line wasn't getting much pressure. We did pretty good, you know, stopping the run. Genty, I think, was 2 yards a carry, something like that, which I expected our run defense to be good. You know, we got the Philly
I was going to say, Genty didn't really have that big of a game.
No.
Yeah.
It was
I think we got into blitz mode to where just they knew it was coming. We were blitzing, and they just outcoached us on that aspect of it, like saying, like, he read it, knew the blitzes were coming. We blitzed a ton, like a lot more than I've ever seen the Patriots blitz. So I think they kind of hooked on that and understood it. But again, it was only 20-13. It wasn't like end of the world type of game. We'll see how the Raiders end up, but definitely was not a great week for New England.
Yeah, Relic is relishing the fact that he started the butterball. I mean, Ashton Genty. And
I mean, he had 12
a touchdown.
He had 12 fantasy points. You know, for a first round pick, you can't really be thrilled with 12 points. But, you know, it's his first game, and
which I thought. Yeah, I thought that was pretty good for a guy who spent half the game in the buffet line. So, you know.
He's not fat, Bob. He's jacked.
Jacked, fat. Look, a fat guy knows a fat guy when he sees him.
Dave
was Bettis jacked or fat?
Fuck out of here.
I'm just curious. Is this Dave's wife? Is she on here tweeting for him?
Yeah.
Put the wine down, Dave.
David, do you think starting Broderick Jones at running back hurt you this week in your game against Brent?
Yeah, like I said, my two guys were definitely was Higgins and Hawkinson. They just sucked, to put it bluntly.
So let's turn the table.
He had Brown that 1.8 points. That's it.
1.8.
Yeah,
yep.
1.8. So like it ain't like I didn't have help. I mean, if Brown hits his projection, Trent puts up almost 150. So yeah. I mean, Trent's team just fucking balled out, man. There's just no other way to put it, minus Brown.
So let's pivot a little, and I'll turn the tables now, and I'll ask you guys about your Steelers and Jets game, right? Because I think as I watched that game, it got the most play. I watched the red zone a lot, and there was a lot of scoring, and there was a lot of teams in the red zone. So that game was on quite a bit. You know, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I certainly didn't expect the Steelers both ways, right? I didn't think they were going to score that many points, and I certainly didn't think they were going to give up that many points. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, like literally I didn't expect the defense to suck that bad. That was wow. No, that score, I never would have thought that was going to be the score. I don't think any of us predicted that on the legendary picks either. Nobody predicted both of them scoring 30 plus points.
No,
and it being that close. I did say it was going to be close, though. I think I was the only one that said it was going to be a close game. The rest of you had them, the Steelers blowing them out.
I was thinking 13-10 with those two scrub teams.
I said 16-10 or something like that. I never thought it was, I never thought it was going to be a blowout either way. But holy shit, both of them to put up 30 plus points. I didn't think.
Well, I'd say Aaron Rodgers.
I didn't think our offense would do it. But yeah, I mean, dude, if you watch, he made throws that he used to make that he hasn't made in a while. So the dude's 100% healthy, but now he's saying that his back was stiff and that he still would have been even more mobile than he was.
He still does have he still looks a little old at times. Some of those sacks that where he's getting sacked, there was no way he was getting.
He's
getting out of
41,
them.
so I'm not
Yeah,
expecting
yeah.
him to be
So
like
he-
Aaron Rodgers 10 years
Arm-wise,
ago.
though, he looked good arm-wise. Yeah.
But the arm looks great. Running, thrown on one leg accurately. Yeah, I was pretty happy. He exceeded my expectations. He really did.
I think Justin too. That might have been one of Justin's best games as a pro. Period.
It was
I mean,
I agree.
his best game as a pro. It really was.
It is impressive.
He made throws he does not make typically,
No.
and he was lasering some balls in between coverages that, I mean, he was high risk, high reward, and he hit all reward the whole
Honestly,
game.
if I'm the Jets, I'm excited.
Sure.
Yeah.
You got a young kid is still young and looking that good. I mean, a good get by them. I have to say, a good get by them. It's looking
Right, like as a
early,
Steelers
first game of
fan,
the
you
season.
like even though Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, aren't you kind of like, man, we could have signed Fields for like 3 years, 60 mil, maybe 3 years, 75 mil.
You want to know what?
And
You want to know? This was my only concern, and I said this, and it's just that Rodgers is 41. Our O-line's going to get him fucking killed. That was my concern with going with Rodgers over Fields. But
and that's
we didn't have a choice
too.
either.
Best
so.
scenario, Rodgers goes off this year. You guys make the playoffs or whatever it may be, but like again, you're kind of in the same boat next year, right? Like,
yeah.
What do we do now? And with Fields,
well, I think he already said he's not coming back, right? I mean,
he's actually starting to walk that back. He's starting to walk that back now.
I would say if he plays well, that
if he plays well, I don't think he's going anywhere. There's money to be made.
Yep.
And if he's well liked, which it sounds like it's going pretty good so far. If they win a playoff game, he's not going anywhere.
Wow, you guys are very optimistic.
Well,
I'll be honest with you.
4 fucking touchdowns. We put up 30-some points. You know how long it's been since we've seen something like that? It's been a while.
We put up 30 points and played poorly, as poorly as we can play on the offensive line, and the running game was non-existent, and we still scored 34
Who you
points.
play this week?
We played
Seahawks.
Seattle.
Hey guys, I'm here so we can get started.
Appreciate it,
Thanks
Greg.
for joining, Greg.
I actually had said like all off season that I would be trying to get Justin in a contract wrapped up for 2 years, and I kept saying like he's going to get over 20 million a year, and everybody kept saying I was crazy, and I'm like I'm telling you, this dude's going to get over 20 million a year.
Nothing
Bob
else.
said it
That's
too.
the going rate for.
The
somebody,
going rate 50 minutes. So 20 mils is deal.
I mean, that's why like you guys are so screwed because you're 7-9, 8-8, 9-7 every year, whatever it may be. You're just never going to be able to draft that big time
That's
quarterback.
what's tough. Yep.
You
You're
know,
right.
and you're just stuck in this like this route to where, and you don't want to lose, right? So Tomlin's putting together whatever he can put together, and you guys come up with decent seasons, but I don't see that. Like, what's going to happen next year, the year after that? Like,
Dude, it's quarterback purgatory. We're stuck in purgatory because
Well,
we
that's
do
what
good
happens.
enough.
You see
but
that
not
a
good
lot
enough.
in the NFL. You know,
What's that?
You see that a lot in the NFL. You know,
Yeah.
like you even some of the teams that draft early and you miss on that quarterback, it puts you back. You know, look at us with Mac Jones. You know, it put us back. That's just one time. There's some teams that, you know, you got Cleveland that does it every 2 or 3 years, drafts the wrong guy, you know, and they've been crappy forever. And it's just
when you miss on your franchise quarterback, it sets you back at least 3 years.
or you get lucky like the Ravens and pick, you know, Lamar at the 32nd
they
pick
hit
or
on it, yeah.
something, and you hit on
Right.
it. And
Yeah, no, it's bad. But no matter what, the Steelers have to draft a quarterback next year with this class. I know right now they're not looking great, but I'd like to think by the end of the college season, we're going to be like, okay, there's some guys that we probably should.
Luckily, this star quarterback class sucks. So at this point, drafting somebody in the 20s is going to be pretty likely.
Hey, I don't know if you guys touched on this already, but was it me or was it? I couldn't believe that on that fourth down and goal, the Jets' last touchdown. Why the hell didn't we have anybody spying on Fields?
Well, that's because Terrell Austin is an idiot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because everybody in the stadium, everybody watching live, everybody who's ever played the game has always said, hey, maybe we should spy Justin Fields. And Tomlin's like, fuck that guy. He can't run.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't sign. how good can he be?
He only runs
All right.
a 4.4. I mean, what the fuck?
Yeah.
All right,
And
so
played
now,
for us. Ain't like we didn't see him for a whole goddamn season. Jesus Christ.
all right, let's start looking ahead to this week. Last week's in the books. Some of us
Thank
are 1-0, some
Thank
of us
God.
aren't. But let's talk about who we like this week as far as this isn't the obvious pick, just so we're clear for those you watching. Obviously you like starting Saquon Barkley. This is maybe a little bit deeper. Maybe a guy who you put in the lineup who's going to win you the game versus a guy who you put in the lineup, basically all of Dave's team, and they lose you the game. So and that's since Dave couldn't be here tonight, got to take a shot. All right, so let's start with David. So, David, your start and sit of the week.
Okay, so I had Njoku in a couple of my other leagues, and he didn't do jack shit. And I was just like, what the hell? Like, how does Njoku not put up points? Well, here's why. There's this other tight end the Browns drafted named Harold Fannin Jr. This dude had played 55 snaps. He had 7 receptions for 63 yards, a team-high 9 targets. And here's what's crazy. They moved him all over the place. He played 41.7% of snaps in the slot. 29 times he was in line at tight end. And then he took 3 snaps at running back. This guy's getting played everywhere and was like one of the main focus players for the Browns. So to me, this is a guy, like if you're in need of a tight end, you're in like a 12-team league, this is a guy you want to go grab and start. Go grab him right now.
Next gen stats.
Yeah, dude, like when I read this, I was just like, what the hell? Who the fuck is this kid? Dude.
And I went out and got him because of the uncertainty of Brock Bowers. But another thing, too, when he was in college last year, he led the nation in receptions, and not just for tight ends, for all receivers.
Crazy.
So he can make plays with the ball.
PPR league, like, this is the guy. That's what I'm feeling like, a guy to go get and probably start.
What
if
about
you're
your
a Njoku owner, I'm worried.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. All right,
So
and then sit of the week. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Bob.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Sit of the week. I'm going Bo Nix. Look, he looked like shit the other day. I think he had 2 interceptions. Now he faces a Colts defense that's 28th in points to quarterbacks. They didn't allow jack shit to a high-powered Dolphins offense. So, to me, it'd be a bad idea to start Bo Nix.
Those are 2 words that don't collide in the same sentence this year.
Yeah.
What's that?
High-powered Dolphins.
I said offense. They're offense. So I would sit Bo Nix. There's no way. That Colts defense is low key really good.
Interesting. Okay, let's turn it to Jeff. Who's your start of the week? Who's your sit of the week?
Well, I would say Travis Etienne is probably this year's Bucky Irving. I mean, everything leads up to it. The way Cohen's coaching him, they dropped Tank Bigsby. I think he's set up for a big year. And even on the games where he might not blow up like he did in week 1, he's going to get the touches. I mean, they by trading Bigsby, they just pretty much announced that he's going to be the man going forward. Yep. So I'm really big on him. I think, again, with Cohen's there, just the way he was able to get Bucky Irvin doing his thing. And you look at some of the plays, and the Jaguars, where they're very underrated, is their tight end position. Some of the cutback blocks and the blocks that the tight ends were doing to free up ETN in those motions was really, really positive last week. So I think Travis Etienne is definitely going to be my starter. My sit is Isaiah Pacheco. I think at this point, this year is going to be a lot of put it on Mahomes' back and let him throw it all over the place. So, I know we didn't even do this, but one of my sleepers is Juju. I think he's going to have a big week this week. I think the way Philadelphia is set up run game-wise and how Kansas City played last week, I think Mahomes is going to be throwing a lot. And, I don't think Pacheco's really going to do much this week.
Be interesting to see if that offensive line holds up any better. And also be interesting to see if Jalen Carter makes it out of warmups.
So the
All right.
suspension, they said because he got kicked out, that's part of the suspension, is what I read, I think.
Yeah,
He didn't get suspended, did he?
No, they were just like he would have gotten suspended, but because he got ejected that game, that's pretty much his suspension.
That's weird.
Interesting. All right, Trent, who we got for your start of the week? I noticed that these two names seem very familiar to Pittsburgh fans.
There's a theme here. Okay, and it plays off each other from what we saw last week. Start of the week, Zach Charbonnet. So he outsnapped KG3. Seems to be taking that lead back role over there. Pittsburgh obviously struggled very mightily against the run against the Jets. Charbonnet might be a really sneaky good play this week. The sit of the week is coming from the same damn game. Jalen Warren's supposed to be the lead back in Pittsburgh, outsnapped by Kenneth Gainwell for some unknown reason that is still a mystery to me. But the run game never got going. I don't know if you're even thinking about playing Jalen Warren, but if you are, please fucking forget about it because this dude is not going to produce. Our run game sucks.
It's
I like it.
interesting.
He's he'll catch some passes, and I think he caught a touchdown, didn't he, last week?
He did.
He did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to be the Seahawks have a really tough interior too, which is going to make a bad run game look that much worse, and it's going to put that much more pressure on Aaron Rodgers. So be interesting to see. We talked yesterday. I think the tight ends get a lot more play in this game than probably the running backs.
Wrong. I have Jalen Warren in another league, and I look at what McCaffrey did last week. I think he had against Seattle 10 targets at least, so he was getting out there. So I'm kind of hoping that the Steelers can at least find some, let the Bosa boys and his other buddy there come in and throw it right over their head to Warren and let him go do his thing. So that's what I'm hoping.
I think he'll be a touchdown dependent running back this week. If you want to hit double-digit points, you're going to need a touchdown from him.
Sure.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. So, John, who's your start and sit?
Well, it's funny listening to all of this. A lot of the players you guys talk about relate to my team in this league last week. I have Kenneth Walker III, who did absolutely nothing thanks to, started giving Charbonnet. I had Bo Nix, who did absolutely nothing. So as a result, I think Bo Nix is my sit of the week. Same
You're welcome,
with you, Dave. And
popular name.
I think
come through in the clutch.
There's something to be said about the sophomore slump, right? When teams finally get a little tape on you, this is the NFL, so they're a little more inclined to be able to game plan for you a little better. I'm hoping long term that's not the case, but I think, I am a little worried this week. He's on the road. Last year, if you look at his road splits, again, he was a rookie. He was struggled a little more on the road than he did at home. So, you throw those two things coming off a bad game, he concerns me. My start of the week is Ricky Pearsall. I think, he had a lot of billing. People were talking big of him preseason draft season for fantasy leagues, and he kind of lived up to it. If you look last week, he was kind of the go-to guy for Brock Purdy. Jennings banged up. Obviously, Ayuk is out there. Other than McCaffrey, once Kittle went down, who's he going to throw to now? And even better, honestly, for Pearsall probably is Purdy being out there or being out of the game. Look at Mac Jones last year. If Mac Jones plays this week, what he did with Brian Thomas Jr. last year, if Brian Thomas Jr.'s numbers were better with Mac Jones than they were with Trevor Lawrence. So, if he has that rapport with Pearsall, I think Pearsall could be in line for a big game this week.
I noticed Brock Purdy, too, threw a couple of really bad interceptions where he was trying to force the ball to Pearsall. He threw one into triple coverage. I mean, I was surprised they didn't yank him off the field at that point.
Can't yank him now with that contract.
Well,
that's why he's got a hurt toe, so he's going to miss probably 3 weeks.
Okay, so let's go on to Greg. Greg, interesting names here.
Well, did you say the start and sit has to be from our team or just around the league?
No, around the league, whatever.
Around the league.
Okay, well, since I'm going to go ahead and say Keon Coleman is my start. I think he's established as the number one receiver in Buffalo. And I know they're playing the Jets this week, so I'm sure Sauce Gardner is going to shadow him. But I think he's established himself as a number one receiver, so he's a must play every week. Sit, I would say Tua. If you were even playing him in the first place, it's a dumpster fire. You don't know if you're going to have Tyreek Hill with your team, or if he's going to be suspended for domestic charges or whatnot. They don't have Jonnu Smith. They have Darren Waller at tight end. He's out with injuries. A-Chain is injured also, and they're down to like their second or third string running back. The only real seems consistent person right now would be Waddle, and there are times he's banged up too. So he's just Miami's a dumpster fire. So don't play Tua. And
Well,
plus,
according to
also,
Dave, they're
Tua-
high powered.
You never know. Tua is also one hit away. From
They used to be high powered. It's one game. Are we really going to ignore what they've done the last couple of years?
I wouldn't
Maybe
say
the
last
first
year.
coach
Maybe the
like-
year before.
First coach to
a
get
Chain,
fired this year.
Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I mean, they were putting up some pretty points. They put up
Not
like
so much
70
last
points
year.
last year.
I think
Pretty
it was
sure
the
they
year
did.
The year before, last year.
I thought that was
no-
last year.
No, Tyreek was
Sucked.
whining the whole year.
That's why he's
Oh, that's right.
getting
'Cause
drafted so late.
either way, if they're healthy, they can put up some points. So that's the way I look at it. If they're
I don't even
healthy,
know-
they're fine.
I think they have the capabilities. Like A-Chain, I don't think A-Chain's hurt. I have him in another league. He did quite well last week, as a matter of fact.
We've already
But-
seen him do it. So that's why,
two
that's
of
why I
us
know they can.
make
I
me
tried to
like-
pick somebody
little
besides
nervous.
George Pickens because I figured that'd be too easy. But
Well, I'm sitting Pickens this week.
All right. So I would have agreed with John. My start of the week would have been Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to have a huge game this week. My sit of the week would be Kenneth Walker. I love Kenneth Walker. I'm very high on him. And I think in that offense, when they start getting him the ball in the passing game, we're going to see him take off. Unfortunately, he's going to play a very angry Steelers defense this week. I don't know what good it'll do the Steelers, but theoretically at home, they're not going to give up all those rushing yards, I think. And I think Sam Darnold is trash. I do feel like that's going to be a big game this week. So let's talk about some guys that we either want to buy lower or sell high on. And the first name that pops up is the guy we just were talking about, Tyreek Hill. All kinds of trade rumors. Is he going to get suspended? Jeff, start us off. Or would you try to buy low on Tyreek Hill right now?
I wouldn't touch Tyreek Hill with not worth it. It's just not worth it. He's not what he was 2 or 3 years ago. He's nothing but issues. It doesn't seem like he's a good locker room guy. Like there's nothing that would come to benefit that. I mean, I guess if you got a gun quarterback, maybe, but I would really stay away from Tyreek Hill.
Right, if you're gonna give him to me for
thing.
some backup bench guy on my team, then maybe I'd consider it, but I'm not giving up any substance for Tyreek.
Yeah, no, not at all.
What about you, David?
Yeah, no, I'd be all in. I'd go get him. Here's why. 2 reasons, actually. One, if he does get traded, he's probably going to go to a team with a really good quarterback, i.e. Aaron Rodgers, i.e. Patrick Mahomes. And the second reason is if he stays, look at their schedule. New England gives up the 4th most points after the first game. Buffalo gave up the 3rd most points. Jets gave the 6th. Chargers get 10th. Atlanta the 5th most points. Baltimore the 2nd most points. That's a lot of teams on one schedule that give up the most points to wide receivers. So there's a good chance he rebounds too. This could go either way.
That
This could
team,
be just
though,
I get it, but there's a
with the
good
coaching-
chance. Yeah,
the
but there's a
coaching,
good
the
chance he
team,
can bounce back and produce 10 to 15 points a game for you. If you get him low for not hardly giving up anything, who cares?
I think they all gave up. I think the only chance he would have is if he got traded. He might do better. But if he's staying with Miami, they're done.
But
They're
that's why
absolutely
you
done. McDaniels
that's
is
why the buy
completely
low's
off.
there. You're buying low. You're not giving up anything big for him.
Right.
So if you buy low, in theory, it's fine. That's why I'd be fine with it.
Greg, are you buying Tyreek Hill or no?
I guess for our offense, I would. Hopefully he's not gonna, get suspended or anything. You'd hope that he would at least. Another point about it is you'd hope Aaron Rodgers would have some kind of effect on him, as far as like advising him, being the sage that he is apparently.
Take him into the woods, put him in a tent, chew on
I know it would be a true test.
Get him right.
Ayahuasca, yeah.
Yeah.
Trent, what about you, buddy?
But I will agree with what you guys said yesterday. His contract is going to have to be restructured. I know the current deal he's on now was restructured already, but yeah, they will definitely need to restructure it again.
So $36 million for next season. But he's only a $15 million cap hit if he gets cut. Trent, what about you? Are you buying Tyreek Hill?
I'm buying low. I think he is going to force his way out of Miami. I think this is a ticking time bomb between he and that organization. I think he's going to try to dictate where he signs, which is going to be advantageous if you're looking at it from a fantasy perspective. If you believe the rumors, Kansas City and Pittsburgh are the two front runners. Either offense, he's going to be able to produce in. Quite frankly, you got Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. So I would buy low on him, expecting the trade. It may take a couple of weeks, but I mean, it's upside. Even if you're stashing him for a couple of weeks on your bench while they work out the trade situation, he's going to produce in fantasy.
I got a sneaky buy low candidate here. Would you move what you needed to move to get AJ Brown at this point? Let's John, you start us off.
No, I would buy low, but I would not buy high on AJ Brown. I think what we saw this week, you'll probably see again this year. There will probably be some games that you will say, see, I told you AJ Brown's really good. But too much Hurts running the ball, too much Devontae Smith. It seems like Hurts likes Dallas Goedert. Obviously, they got Barkley. There's a lot of mouths to feed there. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. I feel that, he's got that Tyreek Hill vibe going on. You're not getting me the ball. I'm going to sit over and read my book. And, I could actually see maybe Philly even deciding to ship him out. There's been some discussions about, maybe New England picking him up in a trade. So I don't know. I don't hate him, but I'm not giving up one of my starters. To answer your question, no, I'm not giving whatever I have to get him. He doesn't excite me in that level with a lot of the other wide receivers that are out there today.
Was that against us that he was reading on the sidelines, or who was that against?
I don't know. I think it's been a couple times.
Could be worse. He could have been eating a hot dog. Trent, what about you? Are you moving anything to get AJ Brown?
I already have AJ Brown, so you guys can move the fucking earth if you want to come get him. I'd be welcoming that. Call me for some Josh Allen if you're interested. We can probably swap some top tier players. You guys are gonna have to give up a lot. I'll be honest with you. At 1.8, it's only up from here, fellas. Just look at it that way. 1.8 points last week. It's all up from here. Sell the farm. Come get AJ Brown. I
saw a stat that they were talking about separation routes run with separation, and he was like graded the lowest out of anybody. So it wasn't that he necessarily that they weren't throwing to him. He wasn't getting open for them to throw to him. And I think as the game progressed, he's one of those head case guys. Like if you get it to him early, he might be in the game, and he's gonna do what he needs to do to be involved. But if you don't get the ball to him early, he's gonna just. It seems like he could just fold up and turtle up and just be a non-factor.
Yeah, and the big puns question here. I also there was a lot of this rumor last year too. I think he's in the right place in Philly. I don't know that they're really going to move off of him, but if they did, should the Steelers be in that market? Absolutely. We'll definitely talk about that tomorrow night with the guy who loves every single wide receiver in the league except ours.
As long as they're under 30 years old.
That's
Yeah.
true. Greg, what do you? Are you moving heaven and earth to get AJ Brown? Are you giving Trent the ring here?
Well, I don't know. I'm playing Trent this weekend, I think. So at this rate, maybe I should just let him keep AJ Brown, help me win. But I don't know. I mean, he definitely wouldn't be. Well, he definitely wouldn't be as temperamental powder keg like Tyreek. He could be the guy who gets the intermediate routes and let DJ or DK get the go deep. Yeah, I guess it depends on what the price is. If it's low, yeah.
Okay. All right, David, what do you think?
I would buy low. I'm not going to give you a lot for him right now, because you just don't know how it's going to work out with him. I don't. 1.8 points, like Jesus Christ. That's especially Trent. I ain't giving Trent shit. After
And he got that right at the end, fourth quarter garbage time almost.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I give like a mid-tier player for him. Maybe I give you more quantity than quality for him. Maybe a couple mid-tier guys, maybe 3 at most. That's kind of something I'm kind of known for with my friends, is I like to give them 3 middle tier or bottom tier guys for 1 really good player. So you guys might see that coming in the future with me.
Well, what do you think, Quinn? You're a Pearsall guy. Would you trade Pearsall for AJ Brown? Would you trade Cortland Sutton for AJ Brown?
I hate Cortland Sutton. I'd trade Cortland Sutton for Connor Hayward. I mean, Cortland Sutton, and I know he does good in fantasy. He's the only guy Bo Nix could throw to. Great. I mean, I think Greg and I could beat him in the 40. I mean,
Now,
what about
Bob,
McLaurin?
would you
Scary
include the
Terry
hot
for
dogs in the deal?
AJ Brown.
yes, I would do Terry McLaurin for AJ Brown. I think that would be
Interesting.
Bob, in order to move Connor Haywood, would you have to include the hot dogs?
Not the hot dogs, but the hot dog vendor. We gotta really incent that trade. All right, Jeff finishes off. Are you buying AJ Brown?
I am not buying AJ Brown. I think last year was kind of like the start of what is going on this year. I think John hit it on the head. They're just the way that offense is set up. You know, the tight ends are more involved. You got Saquon back there getting a lot of carries. You have another really solid number 2 wide receiver, and we just talked about it. Like, I wouldn't give up McLaurin for AJ Brown. I wouldn't give up Sutton for AJ Brown. There's not. I'll give you. I don't even know. Off the top of my head, I don't even know what I would trade for AJ Brown. I don't think there's any upside there. I think as the year gets longer, it's just going to get worse. His attitude is going to get worse because he's not getting the ball. So yeah, I wouldn't touch AJ Brown.
It'd be interesting to see maybe a reuniting with Arthur Smith, if that really is an interesting trade.
I might do Pickens
and
for
DK Metcalf for that matter.
Oh God, could you imagine the 2 of them in the same
AJ and DK played together at Ole Miss.
Yeah,
just saying.
That's true. That would be a very interesting wide receiver room. All right, so let's talk about a guy we maybe want to sell high here. This is the guy I personally thought was going to be a bust this year, but he had a nice first game. So, Greg, are you hoping to dupe somebody into Deebo Samuel?
Right now, I would say no, just because I like the wide receivers that I have on my team. As far as we're talking fantasy, I mean, for the Steelers, I mean, like I said, it just depends on what you'd have to give up.
We're talking fantasy here. If you had Deebo Samuel on your roster, would you be holding him hostage and hoping somebody?
Oh no! If somebody wants him, I think they could get him. I'd be willing to.
Well, I do have him, so if any of you want him, I'll be listening.
So that's a big yes from John for selling high.
I just think that McLaurin held out. He wasn't in camp. He didn't practice. You probably expect a slow start from him. As he gets ramped up, I think you see more McLaurin than you do Deebo, and I think it's a good opportunity to sell high on Deebo. I think because the game that he played last week may be the best game that he plays all year. So
Yeah, I totally agree. Trent, what do you think?
What I'm hearing is Debo can be had on selling low right now because he's pretty much offering it out there. So I'll see if Jadon Blue might get this thing done. I'll be sending you that trade any minute now.
I'm going to package Kenneth Walker, Bo Nix, and Debo Samuel.
Yeah,
Give me something good.
If I'm a Debo owner, I would try to sell high while the skillet's hot, so to speak. But I don't think as a buyer, I'm interested.
David?
Yeah, I'm going to attempt to sell him high. He had the 6th most points in fantasy for wide receivers. So somebody might see that and be like, oh, wow, he's about to go off being with the Commanders. But for me, I'm going to take advantage of this because of 1 to 2 reasons. One, the guy gets injured all the time. So if you go ahead and are able to sell him high, that's huge. And like, here's another thing too. Like if you look at the schedule, he's facing Chicago, Dallas, Seattle, Denver, Dallas twice, and these are all bottom that gave points to wide receivers. So there's a good chance that one is either going to get injured, or two, there's going to have a lot of tough games, or he ain't going to put up a lot of points. So now would be the time to sell him high to get a good return before he, morphs into a pumpkin again. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Is that a fat joke? He's no Cordarrelle Patterson.
He's no Genty, but yeah.
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson's not fat. He just can't play quarterback.
Give him time.
Jeff, I'll let you finish this off on this one again too.
Yeah, I think everybody here just hit it on the head. I was like, if you have them and you can trade them high right now, go for it. Get them going, because I think McLaurin is going to have week by week is going to be a lot better. And we saw it in San Francisco, right? It's just like once you know what he's going to do, they plan for that pretty good. So you're not going to get those 25-yard sweep runs as much as you got before. And I think he had a good week, but like everybody said, I would sell high now because you're not going to get nothing for him in 5 or 6 weeks.
And I'm sorry, Trent. I think I left you out. What do you think about Debo?
No, I was in on this one. I already said if I was a seller, I'd sell high. I would definitely not buy though. Yep.
All right. Well, then let's move on to very interesting candidate. This guy who generates a lot of, I see in fantasy circles, a lot of either people love him or hate him. He's a love-hate kind of guy. Michael Pittman last week had a pretty good game, but I think we may have heard of the guy throwing to him, Danny Dimes. I don't know. What do you think? You trying to sell Michael Pittman high here and maybe get something good before Danny Dimes turns into Danny Dimes?
I would sell him high. I think Danny Dimes, whether good or bad, still is much better than what they've had. And everybody forgets a couple of years ago, Pittman was what? Top 5, top 6 fantasy wide receiver?
He was up there. I'd say at least he was around top 10 for sure.
Yeah, he was up there. I had him last year, and it was a huge disappointment. But it was just he never got into it. Flacco didn't really like him. It seems like Danny likes him, good or not. And obviously that was a really great week 1. But I think he's going to get a lot of freaking passes thrown to him. I think he's 80, 90 catches, 1,300 yards this year.
What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I would sell high. I mean, he's like they said, if he's health, the issue with Pittman's been health. He's been hurt, so, on and off. And when he's healthy, yeah, he gets he'll get a lot of targets, particularly in the red zone. So if I can get I'm always willing to listen for a deal, but if I get a good one, yeah. But if it turns out I don't, yeah, I'd be fine keeping him for a while.
Trent, if Danny Dimes one read quarterback, is his read going to be Pittman? Or are we gonna sell him high, or are we gonna hold on to him?
I'm stashing him. I'll be honest with you. I think this is sustainable for Michael Pittman. I like him as a player. I think he's a really good prospect. I liked him as a prospect. He's had a pretty decent career so far. Sure, injuries are a concern, but he's probably not a guy that you drafted extremely high in fantasy. So you've probably got another couple receivers already on the team. If this guy's your flex, and he continues to produce like he did week 1, I mean, this is something I think could be sustainable for the season. Danny Dimes and Shane Steichen might be just a good fit.
It really could be. What do you think, John?
I agree. I agree with what Trent's saying. I'm all in on Pittman. I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit as I've seen his name come across to be able to draft him in the later rounds several times and passed on him. But, you mentioned the love-hate. 2 years ago he was love. Last year was hate, probably because he had 30% completion quarterback throwing him the ball last year. You probably don't hear many people say that I'm so thankful that I have Danny Dimes now throwing me the ball this year after coming off a Anthony Richardson year. But I think if you look at, I think you don't have to look any further than Malik Neighbors last year. Danny Dimes fed Malik Neighbors while he was in, to the tune of 15 targets a game pretty much. And, there's no reason why he can't do the same to Pittman. And I think, after week 1, it looks like that could be the case.
Are you guys aren't scared that Tyler Warren is the actual number 1 target there?
I don't think that affects Pittman's numbers. I mean, if you compare it to last year, and Warren definitely is going to have a big year, but you just can't throw to just one guy the whole time. And I think Warren might actually help Pittman because I think defenses are going to take Warren more serious than they're going to take Pittman, where Warren's probably going to get more weird coverages than Pittman is. So I think that actually might help him rather than hurt him.
Yeah, for me personally, I would actually keep him because I think it's kind of what he's saying. Like, he's got a surrounding cast now at every position. You got Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, Alec Pierce, Josh Downs. Like, if these guys stay healthy, you got this surrounding cast where they can't just worry about stopping Pittman. They got to worry about more than that now. So I think that's going to allow him to really take off as long as he stays healthy. And I think that helps Dimes when you give him that many weapons. I mean, think about it. Has Dimes ever had that many weapons around him as a quarterback at every skill position? I don't think he has. So really, I think you could expect both of them to do better. So I would keep him. I wouldn't sell. I would try to buy him, but of course I would try to lowball people. But I would actually try to get him. I'm encouraged by this. I think that he's now got more surrounding players to help him and Danny Dimes be successful.
And the Colts offensive line is sneaky good too. Like, they're a really good offensive line, which should keep Danny Dimes upright, which he's not used to. Let's be honest. The Giants offensive line was horrible the entire time he was there. So this might be a better team than people thought.
Yeah, I think, they are a good team. And their probably weakest position is the quarterback, but is he serviceable? He definitely can run. He can, he's proven that he can lock in on a guy at least and get him the ball, which, is more than the Colts could have said last year. So, I look for the Colts to be, a tough out this year, and they're not in a tough division. So,
all right.
And if AD Mitchell can develop into a viable threat, that'll just help open up the loose coverage on Pittman more.
Yeah, I forgot about him actually. Like, he's another one. My God, if he develops too.
We called him Danny Dimes so many times I almost forgot his last name was Jones.
Yeah, and low key, I think Trent had an excellent point. Shane Steichen, this, and it's sad to say this, but Danny Dimes is probably the best quarterback he's had, and he's a really good offensive coach, at least with the Colts. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward.
And again, you look at the Giants last year, and you look at them the first game of this year. I mean, everybody's dogging on Danny Dimes, but I mean, what did he have to work with? Yeah, you had Neighbors, and you could throw the ball up to him 150 times or whatever it may be, but that team is pretty awful. So
Singletary as your running back.
And how many games did he not have Neighbors because Neighbors was injured too?
Right.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think Danny
an awful
Dimes
situation.
played.
Wasn't Darren Waller also with the Giants at one time?
I think he got
a few years ago.
I mean, Danny Dimes helped Waller become a fantasy threat for a few years in his prime.
Well, I think he had OBJ. I think was with Danny, and I think obviously he had Barkley. So he's had some guys, but I think
Yeah, there's just
I guess what I'm
something
saying,
about-
basing off of last year, like if you're basing your opinion off of Daniel Jones off of last year, that's a tough deal because
Yeah, I
there
agree.
wasn't much going on in New York last year.
I agree.
Or his entire career. All right, so let's move on to a couple more. This is actually an interesting one. Jeff came up with this one. Are you buying low on Aaron Jones? I thought Jordan Mason looked really, really good, but I thought Aaron Jones was actually more effective when he carried the ball. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. Greg, kick us off.
It would be low because there's like Aaron Jones is good running the ball, and he's also a viable pass catcher as well in the backfield. In fact, you saw that play he made the other night where he on the touchdown grab. I mean, you have to be wary of the splitting of the time with Jordan Mason, but yeah, if I can get him for a good price, yeah, I would.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, I like Aaron Jones. I'd be happy to have him. In fact, I do have him in a couple teams. If you look at, they rewarded him with, I think, a 3-year contract this year based off of performance last year. I think he played every game, had like 900 rushing yards, 500 receiving yards, so 1,400 yards, I think is the number of touchdowns, 50, 60 catches. So, I'll take that. I'll take that all day from a running back. And Mason may cut a little bit into it, but they aren't just going to give him that big deal and not get him the ball. So
let's keep it counterclockwise. Jeff, this was your guy. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I look at it and I just kind of look at the numbers. I look at what they've been talking about all preseason. And like Mason was going to eventually take over, and week 1, you say splitting the carries, but Mason was, I don't know what the snap count was, but Mason had 15 carries. It looked like they were really trying to focus around him. Aaron Jones is again, it's kind of a weird deal because they did sign that contract with him, but everything that coming out of that team looks like Mason's just where they're going to go. And I think, by week 4, week 5, week 6, and maybe I've gotten stung by this because I've gotten in a couple situations last year. I didn't pick Gibbs. I had the other Detroit running back, and he held still. But by the end of the year, you knew who the number 1 was, and I think that's just kind of where we're going with this younger guy, more explosive. So I'm really big on Mason, and I think by the end of the year, Jones is not going to be a viable fantasy football player.
David, what do you think? We're going counterclockwise here.
Yeah, I'm not buying low. I'm not interested. Here's the thing. He had 8 carries for 23 yards, so he averaged less than 4 yards a carry. Like he just said, I think Jordan had what? Mason Jordan had what? 15 carries? So he's out carrying him by double. That's scary for me as an owner. And then if it's not for the 3 reception points and the touchdown, I mean, we're talking less than 9 points here. So I'm actually nervous. I had him in my other league, and it's my pay league, and he's my 3rd running back. He's on my bench right now, and now I'm kind of worried. Like, I'm not happy. So if I was someone looking for a running back, I'm not giving anybody anything for him. I think he's going to be disappointing.
I disagree. I'm buying low on Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is still the best running back in that backfield, in my opinion. And you have essentially a rookie quarterback that they're going to try to get into the flow of the game, which means they have to establish the run to get him comfortable. They're going to take a lot of checkdowns, a lot of screenplays. Minnesota does like some screenplay game. Aaron Jones has been phenomenal in the screen game, dating back to his days with the Packers and even when he's been with the Vikings. I think he's a guy who, yeah, sure, the first game and the carries doesn't look great, but I think as the year progresses, they're going to see why they paid him more than the younger guy, and I think he takes back over.
Nice. All right, so this last one's an interesting name here. This also came from Jeff. If I can get it up here on the screen here. There we go. And well, actually, we missed some guys. I'm going to skip over him and go to a couple of these other names. Travis Etienne, monster game, and I know we're thinking he's Bucky Irving 2.0. We heard that earlier. Trent, we'll go around the other way here. What are you thinking on Travis Etienne?
I think I am going to try to sell high on Travis Etienne. I think if you look at the body of work he's put out through the course of his career, it doesn't match what we saw in his first game this year. So if you can try to maximize his value right now, I know they got rid of Tank Bigsby, so should create more workload for him. But they also have a rookie running back in that backfield that they like as well, which may have been why they got rid of Tank Bigsby. So I think the Jaguars are probably going to get back to more of a traditional two-back system. I don't think the Jaguars are particularly that good as a football team anyway. So I think they're going to look to probably not see this same level of performance that we saw from Etienne in week 1.
Greg, what do you think?
I'm kind of on the fence. I'm encouraged by what happened last week, and as much as they are hopeful on the rookie, we still haven't seen him much. So, and my running back depth isn't that good right now on my team, so I would keep him for now.
John?
Well, I happen to have this guy too, and I would be I'm selling high on him because Jaguars got rid of Tank Bigsby because they're really high on Tootin. They have another young guy there too, I think, that they drafted in later rounds that they're high on as well. I think, Etienne's coming up on a contract year. I don't anticipate the Jaguars giving him a big contract. It's more of get rid of Bigsby so we can see what we got with the two rookie guys, with Etienne probably not in the long-term plans. We need to temper expectations, I think, a little bit too. He had one big run, I think, for 72 yards or 70 yards, and they were playing the Panthers. So, probably one of the softer Ds that they're going to face all year. I do think, Jeff had talked about Cohen, what he did with, Bucky Irvin and Rashad White, kind of using them both last year. I think if you look at the Buck splits, it was pretty much a 50-50 split. I do anticipate that changing this year in Tampa, but Cohen could use a similar approach with Etienne. But I think as time goes by, you're going to see more Tootin and less Etienne. And when they start playing some tougher Ds, you're not going to be seeing 146 yards and 70-yard runs from him. Although, he's got that capability. But he's a couple of years older now than he was when he was a rookie. And, he hasn't really shown much over the last couple of years.
It's interesting they went away from speed back, power back to fast and faster with Etienne and Tootin.
Yeah,
what do you think, Jeff?
Well, that's
Go
why
ahead.
Cohen's likes his running backs that way, and that's why I'm really big on him. It's like, you're not going to trade Tank Bigsby, who was your leading rusher last year, if you aren't putting a lot of onus on Etienne this year. And I understand the rookie aspect, and they have a couple rookie running backs, but Cohen needs to win now, right? He's a rookie coach. He needs to have a good year this year, and he's putting a lot of stock in Etienne, and I just think he's going to have a big year.
Sweet. What do you think? What do you think, David?
Look, I think we need to remember that this guy was injured last year, and in his rookie season, when he was healthy, he had 1,000 yards rushing and 476 yards receiving, 11 touchdowns rushing. I think this guy's healthy. You guys remember how pissed we got that the Steelers didn't draft him over Najee Harris?
I was just gonna ask that question.
I distinctly remember us being pissed that they didn't go with Etienne because look at what he did. But last year,
didn't he miss his rookie year with a List Frank injury in his foot?
I
think he played.
But I'm looking now.
That was like 4 years ago. He hasn't been fantasy relevant in years
because of injuries. But when he's healthy, he's really good. So if he's actually 100% healthy, I ain't selling this guy. In fact, you might have got one of the steals of the draft if you drafted him later in the rounds. I can't remember what round he got drafted with us.
He was later for sure.
Yeah, he was definitely.
So to me, this is like a diamond in the rough for you, dude. Are you kidding me? One game and he has fucking 19 points, 143 yards on the ground. He didn't even have a lot of reception yards. So just imagine when he goes off in that category.
For the record, Dave,
I'm not selling.
I also would have rather than taken ATN than Najee. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hindsight 2020. Can I say? I'll say one thing though, where I could see where you're concerned with the ATN. If I look at his schedule, almost he's only got like 2 or 3 teams are in the top 15 in giving points to running backs. All the other ones are bottom 15 in points to running backs as after the first game of the season. So I could see some hesitance with that. Maybe he's going to be facing tougher teams against the rush. But from what I'm seeing with him right now, if he's healthy, oh my gosh. And again, it depends on if someone offers you something big for him, if you need something else. That's the other thing too. It all depends on what you're offered. If you really, really need a wide receiver or whatever, they offer you something crazy. Okay, sure. Go ahead, sell high. But for me personally, like, running backs they run at a premium in fantasy football with injuries and everything else.
Well,
So,
the great thing about ETN this year is if you picked him, he wasn't your 1 or your 2. He's going to be your 3 or 4. So, you could probably get a nice little haul back for.
Yeah, if you get an offer that you can't refuse, fine. But man, I'd be thrilled if I had him.
It wouldn't be an appearance from me.
He passes out of the backfield too, so he's going to get a lot of targets there.
It wouldn't be an appearance from me if I didn't take a shot at Najee Harris. Hot take here. Etienne has already rushed for more yards than Najee Harris will for the entire season.
There's probably some truth to that.
Yeah, because Najee literally only had 1 carry for 5 yards.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're easing him back into it.
All right.
Yeah.
So we talked about AJ Brown earlier, and we even talked about would we trade this guy for AJ Brown? Let's talk about Terry McLaurin here. A lot of people down on him because of the holdout. Didn't have a great game. Didn't start out great last year though, but game 3 through 10 he took off. Are we, Washington got a tough game this week? Got to play the Packers, who look like they're the real deal. What are we doing here? Are we trying to dump McLaurin and get out while we can? Feel free to anybody go.
I'm buying low if I can.
Yeah, I'm not dumping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, he got off to a slow start last year. Story of fantasy seasons past. I traded for him last year, probably after game 3, and he carried me to the finals, which I lost by 0.3, and he had 1 catch for 7 yards. So screw Terry McLaurin. But I would say that he missed all of preseason. We talked a little bit about this earlier, and Debo, when we were talking about Debo, missed all preseason and his holdout, really wasn't practicing. I still think, this is kind of him getting acclimated and ramping back up. And, I expect to see, bigger and better things from him, more along the lines of what we saw last year. So I'm keeping him.
Any other thoughts on McLaurin here? I have him in a lot of fantasy leagues. I'm telling you right now. I mean, if you come calling with AJ Brown, yeah, I'm listening. But
I'm not doing AJ Brown for McLaurin. I'm
attempting to buy low.
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm doing.
At the end of the
I'm
day,
attempting to buy low.
At the end of the day, he's still a number 1 receiver, and Jaden Daniels is his quarterback. Jaden Daniels is going to try to get him the ball. So.
Yep.
Whoever has him, I'm literally telling him, hey man, he's washed. Just try to get what you can for him. That's what I would do.
I'll give you Boswell. For him.
The boss.
We got the Smitty here asking, are we going to start? I'm assuming that's David Montgomery, Jacoby Myers, or Javonte Williams in the flex. This is an interesting question. Detroit didn't look too good.
I'm going with Javonte Williams there. I think
depends on the matchup.
He's going to get the goal line touches, probably going to get another touchdown.
Dallas is playing the Giants.
Yeah,
really good defense.
Giants, yeah.
Detroit's facing Chicago.
Yeah. And
I mean, I kind of like Jacoby Myers
Montgomery's
here. I
usually
think
the goal line
they're,
guy for
you
them.
know,
Dude, Chicago's 27th in points to wide receivers after that.
I didn't
first
even
game.
look. What did Jacoby do last weekend? Like, I have no idea what he did.
Great question.
well, he
I don't
played
either. I
the
don't have-
Patriots and had 100 yards and 7
Did he?
catches. Yeah, 97, I think it was.
Well, I couldn't find him.
Who the Raiders got this week? Vegas is. I don't know. I don't know
Raiders
if I
play
like
the
Vegas.
Raiders
against
play the Chargers.
Chargers.
Yeah.
So that could be,
on the
that
late
could be
Monday game.
shootout. You know,
This is a tough one
Myers got
actually.
100. In a
I'm not.
PPR, I'm probably going Jacoby Myers. I'm not sold on Williams yet.
You said
I do
Myers
agree.
had 100 yards receiving?
Yeah, 97, I think.
Because he should be like one of the top guys in points. Then I would
I
think.
think
I
he
can't
was
find
7
him.
for 97, something like that.
You know, I think a sneaky play here might be David Montgomery. I think the Detroit's going to bounce back in a big way. Trent, what do you think?
I honestly, if I'm looking at these guys, I think I'm going to go with Jacoby Myers. I think he's the safest bet out of them all. Detroit wasn't great offensively. Javonte Williams, I'm not sure if that's going to be sustainable in Dallas. We saw him kind of fall apart in Denver. You don't know which running back is going to score in Detroit. Myers is a pretty safe bet. He's their clear-cut one outside of the tight end there, Brock Bowers. Like,
And
somebody's got to catch the ball there eventually, right? Like, he's going to get targets.
I'm looking right now.
Up too, so.
I'm looking right now, and the Chargers were 10th in points, top 10 in points given up to wide receivers. So I think Myers would be the smart play there.
I do too.
All right, so a lot of Jacobys. I'm going to say David Montgomery because I think the Detroit will be up by 8 touchdowns and he'll be running the ball a lot in the second half.
Maybe they feed him or something.
Myers, the guy we should have traded for, right?
Another interesting. Well, I don't know about that. Another interesting one here: Jonnu Smith or Juwan Johnson.
As of right now, I go Juwan Johnson. I mean, Jonnu Smith, if it's not for the touchdown, he wouldn't have had jack shit. He only had 15 yards receiving. So I would go Juwan Johnson, to be honest.
Just game script alone says Juwan Johnson, right? New Orleans probably
that
going to
too.
be trailing most of the time. You know, they got Olave and they got, I think Pickett threw 47 times or something last week. That's a lot of opportunities for Johnson, and he took advantage of it last week. So
I have to go. I didn't realize what time it was. I could talk fantasy to you guys for like 5 fucking hours.
Yes.
I will see you later. Have a good night.
All right.
Yeah, I would
All right,
agree.
so-
Juwan Johnson was definitely
Juwan.
Yeah,
I get
I'm. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Or Trent.
I was going to say, I think it depends on like how you feel about your lineup in this one, because if you want a boom or bust type play, I think Jonnu Smith might have a big game against Seattle's defense. I know he didn't have much in the week one. I think they're going to try to rectify that and get him the ball more in this second game, get him more involved in the offense. Seattle's pass defense is pretty bad.
yeah, I think the 49ers tight ends had 2. I know Kittle had a touchdown. I think the other guy caught a touchdown.
Yeah, I think Jonnu Smith is a boom or bust play, but I think it depends on how comfortable you are with your lineup. But if you feel like you're going to get points and you want to really try to jump it up a notch, I think I'd probably play Jonnu Smith in this one.
I'm just trying to think. Aaron Rodgers, back to Green Bay days, was he ever a tight end? Who was Green Bay's tight end?
He never really had one, to be honest with you. He's not had a good tight end ever.
Well, I think
When he had
quarterbacks
Bubba
sometimes
Franks,
make the tight ends too. So if Rodgers is looking more at the receivers than the tight ends too, there's something to be said for that. But I don't hate Jonnu. I only hate him because he sucked on the Patriots. But again, it just kind of goes to show, if the quarterback's not looking your way, you can't do it. So,
if only they got him the tape. So a couple more before we finish up. And David's a big fan of this guy. He gave us stats. I think he's still available on the waiver wire a little bit, although I know he was a hot waiver wire pickup. Are you trading anything for him if somebody's already got him on the roster?
I've already got him.
It kind of depends on what kind of league you're in, right? 10, 12, or 14. In a 10-man league, it's really hard to give up a roster spot for him. But in a 14-man league, yeah, I'd be jumping all over him.
Well,
I don't know enough about him. Sample size isn't big enough for me to get too excited yet. Joku's still there. Cleveland's offense doesn't excite me. So
to me,
for me,
after one game, it seemed Fan and Joku kind of similar to initially to Andrews and Likely in Baltimore. Yeah, I know they're both going to battle for catches, but like David said, I know it's a one game sample, but Fannin was heavily involved, featured in that offense, and he's very athletic, and he's got a pedigree of catching the ball. Basically, if you look at his college stats, so.
Trent, will this be Shadur's favorite target in Week 5?
I was actually going to make a comment about Dylan Gabriel coming in to be the starter after Joe Flacco eventually it figures out that he's like 40 years old, looks 40 years old, and he's in Cleveland, so he's going to get killed. Gabriel's going to throw more to the outside guys. He's too small to see the middle of the field. So if they keep the same pecking order right now, you're going to see both tight ends probably drop off in production if Gabriel starts playing. And then I think eventually Cleveland has to see what these rookie quarterbacks have. They're going to draft way too high next year. They want to know what they have going into that draft for sure. You almost think that's a given, right? Has to be.
I feel like they'll go to Gabriel first. I think he'll get killed, and then Shadur will play by default. I think you've got to play both of them to find out what they got.
To me, as I mentioned, comparing them to the Baltimore tight ends, to me, and like I said, it's a one-game sample, but Fannin kind of seems like more like Isaiah Likely in the fact that you can, in addition to playing intermediate, he could go out on the flat, or he can go deep and be, get farther down the field than Njoku.
Yeah, he's athletic.
Yeah, he was a sneaky.
What college was he?
Syracuse.
Bowling Green State.
Was he the Bowling Green team?
Yeah.
I thought he was a Syracuse kid. I'm thinking of the other kid.
That's Oronde Gadsden.
Yeah, that's right.
He had a really good combine, which shot him up the boards a little bit. He still went a little later than I thought he would, but I was actually kind of surprised the Jets, which and this is kind of a Justin Fields knock. Although if you need a quarterback in fantasy, go get Justin Fields, because he's going to run the ball a lot. He's going to finish as a top 10.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he's available in many leagues after waivers this morning.
I was shocked on Sunday morning. I picked him up in like 4 leagues. I was like, hey, what the hell? But yeah, Mason Anthony was a guy a lot of people were high on. Really, I mean, he had that one nice catch against the Steelers, but really didn't show much. And Colston Loveland, what a disappointment. I really thought he was one of the better tight ends, coming into the league. I thought he was going to compete with Tyler Warren and Brock Bowers, who I think are already the class of the league. Travis Kelce has taken a step back.
One week, it's hard to make that assessment yet. I think you got Caleb Williams throwing the ball. He's still kind of learning. They're just young guys, new coach. I would expect Loveland to be a little better, but you also got Kmet there. And I'll be honest, I didn't catch even the second half of that game. The first half was a snooze fest. I guess I missed a good game there in the second half, but that first half put me right to sleep, and I didn't see much was going on in the second half to see kind of who was getting involved. But I didn't see Kmet, Loveland. I didn't see much getting involved in that first half by really either of the teams. I think it was 10-7 at half, something like that.
Any truth to the rumor that whoever buys Caleb Williams, the prettiest nail polish, gets the most targets? What a disaster that guy is. I mean, they send it off with him. I know we're running a little long, but I mean, if you drafted him, at this point, can you even roster Caleb Williams?
He had 26 fantasy points. I got him in a few leagues. So he was definitely, from a fantasy standpoint, very serviceable. Can he maintain it? He's got the Lions offensive coordinator guy that's going to, hypothetically be creative and put him in a position to succeed. So, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, 200 plus yards. we'll see how it goes. I'm not totally disappointed in him.
It's going to depend on how much of a jump is it Oduzze? How much of a jump he makes this year, especially with Keenan Allen not there anymore.
Well, I think he takes over as the number one. I think DJ Moore's better days are behind him. So I think Oduzze steps up. They got Luther Burden there, and they got the two tight ends, Komet and the guy you were talking about, Quinn. So
top 10 fantasy last week. I mean, he's going to be throwing the ball a lot just because the way that offense is set up. He's going to be running a lot. The key to him is just don't get sacked 70 times this year.
Yeah. Throw the ball.
Luther Burden.
Yeah. I mean, he almost got DJ Moore killed in the second half of that game. And I know Trent feels this way. I feel this way. Stash Tyson Bagent if you have Caleb Williams, because Ben Johnson, I don't think he's going to let – you're right. He scores a lot of fantasy points, but I think it's going to be I do not want my quarterback who cannot do anything but run around and scramble for 5 yards and occasionally, uncork a great pass. He's got a live arm.
He had a couple bullets I saw the other night, but – I
just made a bet against DJ Moore last night, so if he gets hurt, that won't be the end of the world.
If Caleb Williams is your starter, like your number one in fantasy, then you probably didn't draft very well.
Right.
True.
Yeah, unless you got him in like the 15th round.
Well, you're going to pick your starting quarterback in the 15th round. That's not drafting very well.
Yes. Well, it is a strategy to just pick running backs and wide receivers.
Yeah, in the 15th round, it's a coin toss between him and Kenny Pickett.
I don't know that Kenny Pickett would still be available.
That was Quinn's boy last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And just to be clear, in a 14-man, I picked him in the 14th round as my starting.
I don't know. I think in Eric's league, you were.
That was one of 9
Steelers double downs in the 4th and 5th rounds.
No, that was the year before. After the immaculate preseason.
That year was the worst year ever. All you had to do to see how Quinn's team was doing was just put on the Steelers game, because every last one of them out there was on Quinn's team.
Najee Harris.
And I made the playoffs in that.
Kenny Pickett, George Pickens.
Yeah.
Did you have Boswell? Did you have Boswell that year?
Probably your number one. Pittsburgh D.
Look, Boswell's the best kicker in the game.
It's funny looking at
accept no Bos slander.
Was that the Allen Robinson year?
Pittsburgh's bye week, Quinn had nobody playing.
Right. Yeah, like 3 guys in the starting lineup.
Yeah. How about Bos, though? I mean, 11 points and 2 field goals. I mean, you got to love that.
He played against me. He actually had 15 points.
Oh, yeah. I forgot the extra points. But
yeah,
60-yarder, 50-yarder.
Hey, I had Pittsburgh was the last a 4-team parlay I did, and my other 3 teams hit, and Pittsburgh was just I put it in the group chat. I'm like, man, they're gonna lose to the Jets and blow my bet. And I was playing against him, Boswell. I'm like, come on, make this 60-yarder. I don't care. I'll lose in fantasy, and he made it. So, and then thank God Jalen Ramsey busted up the pass there at the end, because who knows what would have happened.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's great. You got the parlay with Steelers only laying 2, because
well, I just picked them straight out. I picked four game parlay, so I just picked to win. 4 teams to win.
Gotcha.
Redskins.
Even if he completes that pass to Wilson, thing is, the Jets still have Nick Folk, who was kind of shaky.
I don't know. I think he was probably the most accurate field goal kicker in the history last year.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly enough, yeah, that's true. He
was shaky that Sunday. I can't speak to what he did last year, but he did make an extra point. So
he can't make a kick over 45 yards, but
yeah, but he's automatic from 40 and under.
And he did miss the extra point. So,
but Boswell's continues to be a good one. So
Aubrey's better.
All right, so do we have anything else before we get out of here?
No.
Nope.
No.
Good luck this week coming up. I don't know. We didn't preview this week's matchups. Maybe next week we'll incorporate that the last 15 minutes or something. Preview them. But good talk.
Couple of programming notes. So normally we will be on Thursday, and we'll go at around 6:45, 7 before the Thursday night football game. We just people who have some commitments and traveling this week. For those of you expecting Sanctuary on Friday, Steelers Sanctuary, we're going to go on Saturday morning instead. Dave can't make it Friday night, neither can I. So we're on 10:30. We're going to have me, Trent, and Dave on. We're hoping David can join us. It's kind of borderline, but we'll also be doing legendary picks. But then starting next week, back to normal, 7 o'clock on Monday nights. Trent will be on Here We Go Tuesday nights with Colin. We'll be on Thursday nights for the fantasy podcast. And then on Friday nights, we'll preview the Steelers game and do our legendary picks segment. But otherwise,
Thursday
great talking
nights,
to you guys.
when you actually have good fans, Patriots fans on Thursday nights, that's when you need to tune in.
What can we say about the Patriots? At least they're not the Browns.
Well, we're playing the high-powered Miami Dolphins this week. So
Right, and we lose to the Dolphins, and I won't speak Patriots the rest of the year.
Yeah, then we're going to tank for top pick.
Yep.
All right. Till next week. You guys have a great thanks for watching. Chat, you were great. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.